What's going on, guys? Bladezilla here, and today we are taking a look at this gorgeous knife from Robjohnsons. This is their Hemlock, and I just so happened to get a couple of these guys in, and lo and behold, the Hemlock is kind of their really nice in-between size of the, I want to say, the cypress on the small side and the cedar on the high end, big side. So wanted to do a quick video on the Hemlock. I have, it's my first time kind of experiencing one myself, and really, really nicely done. Really, really gorgeous details. Lots of work have kind of gone into these guys. So figured I would grab one, do a quick conversation on it, and then send you on your merry way for a great rest of the week. So join me while we have a nice little discussion around that. As a reminder, guys, check out the site bladezilla.ca, where a lot of the knives featured on this YouTube channel are available for sale in Canada. Just added some really cool SOCOM, some glow-in-the-dark, kind of some spike grinds. Pretty rare for the SOCOM Elites. Pretty cool knives. Strider, WKM, some nice stuff in ProTech as well, Q95. And then there's this guy right here, Hemlock 53, gorgeous. So that's this as we go. Anyway, we're not here to talk about Bladezilla.ca. We're here to talk about the Robjohnsons Hemlock. I almost said cedar there. Geez, slip of the tongue. So this knife, I'm going to zoom out a little. I feel like we're a little punched in more than normal, and I'm filming this a little late at night, so we're going off a lot of light for some reason right now, but I apologize for that. Hopefully, we'll kind of level out. I wanted to show you this first of all. They come in these really cool kind of wooden boxes. Kind of sounds silly that I never show what a lot of this stuff comes in. You know, a lot of the really nice Shirogorofs I have literally come in just like a tiny little cardboard box, whereas this comes in a beautiful wooden box. The nice thing about this is the actual COA, Certificate of Authenticity, is on the flip side of this lid. So if I open this up, there's that Hemlock, Robjohnson. It's form fit in the cushion, which is awesome. But what I really wanted to show you was on the flip side of this lid. So pretty cool, right? There's your COA. Nice little detail. So Hemlock 53, Van X on the steel. That's a rare one, really cool. Acid wash blade, and that's where you get this like dark stone wash kind of look to it. Sunburst pattern, so it's kind of like that big pop of sunlight, kind of radiant energy pattern. Satin raw on the scales. Light blue on the ano, and then clip spacer hardware bronze. Pretty cool. October 10th. And then a signature, which I can really see it in pencil or something. I can't really tell. Is there much of, yeah, there is something down there. So there you go. Really, really cool. Follow those guys, by the way. Some really, they're very active on Instagram, so definitely give them a follow. Okay, well, where do we start on this? Well, it is their medium-sized knife, as I kind of alluded to. There's that sunburst pattern in the milling. It's almost kind of a stone-washy kind of texture underneath that anodizing. And that light that I'm showing right now, that's more representative of the color, whereas when my big overhead light hits this thing, it just pisses off the sensor, as do most knives that are just radiating a lot of light. So for some reason it looks very white, and it's not. It's actually quite dark blue. So kind of like that, I'd say, is more natural. Let's start with some measurements for this mid-size Robjohnsons. Where are they from? I want to say, for some reason I have Latvia in my head. I don't know why. Probably from Seinfeld. You know, if you're a Seinfeld enthusiast, I am. Latvian Orthodox, and I always associate Robjohnson. It's a funny George-related episode. Anyway, I'm pretty sure they're Latvia. Where are we? Just under 8 inches, I think. 7 7/8 overall length. Blade on this guy looks like to the center of the choil, you're almost 3.5, kind of 3 3/8, somewhere in that range. Handle length, let's see, 4 3/8 to the end handle, end to end. Weight on this guy, I'll actually weigh it. Feels pretty light, so I'm assuming there's a lot of skeletonization on the inside of this guy. There's got to be, but I'm guessing 3.5. Come on, come on. 2.8. Wow, under 3? Really? Wow. 2.8 ounces. Under 3. Maybe I should not film these at night when my brain isn't completely turned on correctly, but yeah, I thought it was light. I didn't think it was that light. 2.8 ounces. Very, very cool. Very light. I want to take a look at the inside of this guy. Oh, cool. We've got some milling detail. I can see Hemlock 53. This is going to be tough to see because the camera's going to freak out from all the light bouncing off of this, but hopefully we can kind of see this here on the inside. We do have some written milling on the end. Oh, cool. Maybe you see it better that way. Not too sure. Anyway, so it does say Hemlock 53 right on the inside of that. That's cool. Big chunks of material taken out, as you can kind of see if I roll the knife from side to side. Big pockets, big trapezoids to get it down to that 2.8 ounce. What? In hand, quite thin, but still fills my hand nicely. Very comfortable. The jimping on this guy is actually a lot more than I was kind of anticipating. It's quite long for this, I would say more of a dress knife. Typically, if you look at some Grimsmos, you look at some other knives, in the dress category, they don't do a lot on jimping, nor do they do a ton of it. So that's interesting to see all of that. Very aggressive as well, which is cool. Even those gold, or I guess, what are they calling them? What was it, bronze they're calling it? Yeah, bronze on the thumb studs. Those are even milled quite nicely as well. Hopefully you can see that. There's a lot of little detail, a lot of grip on that. They don't nudge up against the frame like an Umnumzon would or whatever. And they don't touch the frame when they're closed either, but I'm kind of curious, do they stick outside the frame? Maybe a little, maybe a hair over the frame, not a ton. It's a detail that I'm trying to pay attention more to now on thumb studs to see how much they stick out of that frame. It appears to be just over the outside of it, not a ton, but quite a bit of detail on it. It's kind of that volcano style with a little grip on the side. Really cool. Detent on it, medium. You could definitely fail it if you wanted to light flick it, but feels quite nice. What do they call it? The acid wash, stone wash. Pretty darn cool as well. Looks great. I think that would wear in quite nicely as well. Nice drop point grind. Is it thin? It's hollow, definitely hollow. Which is kind of funny from the side profile, just looking at this. It doesn't look like a very big blade stock, right? But from the top, when you look down at that jimping, you're like, oh, it's actually fairly substantial, surprisingly. Flat along the top, all the way down to the tip. No issues there. If you want to choke up, go down the blade, do whatever you got to do. Pretty darn simple to use more of that blade. The logo as well, it's got that touch of bronze, which looks terrific. The mountains, or trees, sorry. Trees, looks good. Very tiny little back spacer on this guy. In that kind of dress category, they don't tend to do a lot with it, but I find, you cover up the tip of the blade. That's the more important part, is kind of at the drop point. I'm always a big advocate of having more coverage down the spine, just because lint and whatnot tends to kind of end up inside that blade. So I like a little more coverage, but that's fine on the dressier stuff. No issues there. Clip as well, nicely milled. Almost kind of gives me like Burberry vibes on that clip. I'm not obviously a big Burberry person. I don't have any Burberry, but I do know of the, what is it called? Is it tartan? Or I thought it was called their tartan. That kind of cross-hatched kind of milling. I always think it's Burberry pattern, but I think there's a name for it. Looks good, nicely milled. Seems to be nice and strong, nice and sturdy. Attached internally, and I'll try to get a side profile on it if it doesn't freak out the camera. So you can kind of see it's got a nice lip on it, so you can slide in there, no issues. It is angled on the frame rather than the lock bar as well, which is a nice detail. So if you put some weight on this guy, you're not going to have any issues We've got, looks like probably about T10 on the main pivot hardware as well. And I'm just looking at this. How is this? Okay, it's on the front. For a second there, I was like, where is the back of this? Where is this closing on? Because they've kind of double dipped that clip, it looks like. Is that what they're doing? I can't... is there another bit inside there? I can't tell if that also doubles as the clip or not. There might be another screw in there. There might not be either. I don't know. This is exactly the kind of details where I wish I could take this apart and disassemble and spend an hour with you on this knife, but unfortunately I can't because it's just too nice. We'll do some size comparisons, and I'm seeing some detail in here. Man, there's a lot. Little dimples. I can see even the skeletonization is kind of like cross-stepped down, where there's like an initial spin and then it steps down another layer within that. That's cool. These are actually a lot better than I was expecting in the detail level. I know I had a cedar come through a little while ago, and I still have a cedar here next to me that I won't get into, but I really liked that knife. The detail on it was fantastic. And I wasn't too sure when the Cypress came in, as well as like, that's a pretty tiny knife, tons of detail, but just it's a smaller knife. Whereas the Hemlock is kind of what you'd think would be that nice middle ground. And there's only 50 or so of them, 50, 60 maybe now, of them out there. So there's not a ton of reviews floating around, not a huge amount. But I just find, actually we'll go down here a little bit more. I just find like this is probably the first size they should have done. Most companies really kind of target that 3.5 inch. It's the sweet spot, you know, nice laid back angles on the handle where you can, it doesn't separate your fingers too bad, but quite comfortable on your index finger as well. The lock bar appears, I'm going to show that one more time, appears to be raised a little bit. Ooh, it's kind of stepped back a little bit as well. Normally that bevel would be right in the front there. So it's kind of laid back just a little bit, but it is raised. So it makes that feel wider than it is. And it's all rounded throughout. Ooh, beautiful, 2.8 ounces. I did not expect that. Okay, we'll go through the usual Shiro profiles on a couple here. I feel like I'm going a little long, and I was hoping this would only be 10 or 15 minutes just to show the knife because it's my first Hemlock. But anyway, we'll start with the F95 from Shiro. Big knife, right? Full size. I'd say that's a large knife. 95mm blade, and it makes this guy look a little tinier, and that's fine. I had in my head it was more of an Astrum-y, stellar kind of a knife, and that's good. There's your Astrum. Thinner, longer, right? Profile-wise, pretty similar though, in terms of width of the handle. But overall size, pretty fair. I'm just trying to shuffle through right now to find my Stellar. There's our Stellar, and this is what I had in my head. So let's see if yeah, pretty close, pretty darn close to a Stellar in size, which is quite nice. Right, a little boxier in the profile, but that's, you know, even if you look at the other knives in their lineup, they're very similar, right? They like those harder lines. Those Latvians, let me tell you. You know what? Let's take a look, because this is not a fair comparison. This is actually more of like a fit strip comparison, but I'll take the fat one out, just because lengthwise it's actually very eerily similar, but it's a fatter knife. With that big compound grind on there and whatnot, but very similar lengthwise. So if you like the strip, this one actually might be for you. And you can kind of see some similar design language, right? The little cutout for your finger up there, right? You get that as well. Whereas the angled handle in the back is still kind of concave. This has the next slot for your middle finger and then the back too. So just kind of keep that in mind. But in terms of overall fit, very similar size-wise. Thickness in hand, that's a whole different conversation that we won't get into. What else would be similar? Well, we can go immediately. And this might be the closest, actually. The RKMP. wow, there's actually a lot of similarities here, just in the overall profile, I would say. So once again, we have the cutout right here for the finger. We've got, look at this, kind of the roll back, a little bit longer on the Shiro, a little bit smaller here, and then this angles up hard, and this kind of relaxes out the back. Interesting. But size, overall length, very similar. A little taller on the RKMP, but nice hard lines as well on that one. So that's pretty cool. I will do the neon as well, different league, but we'll just show it for size. People always like to know the size of the neon. So there you go. Overall length, very similar. Very, very similar overall. This is a Sprint Run Neon 2025 Neon IX. Beautiful knife. But let's get into some more stuff that's kind of in the same category, I would say. The Rask from Grimsmo. A little bit, I'd say, I thought it was a little longer, but maybe it's not. Huh. I would have thought it'd be longer than the Hemlock. Just, you know, paper numbers. But maybe it's the handle itself, how it's kind of just rounded, makes it feel longer than here, right? It's actually damn near the same overall length. It's just a harsher angle on the back. Interesting. So very Rask-esque in nature in terms of length. That's cool. Let's get into the Trevor Burger Urban. Much smaller knife. Little gaffer, but that's cool. That's cool as well. I wanted to find the Triaxis, but we'll do the Rosie because the Rosie's next. I see it there. Oz Machine Roosevelt. I'm still trying to track down an XL, a Rosie XL. I just can't seem to find one that's not $2,000 US. I've heard they're very, very big, and everyone's like, yeah, they're great. They're just massive. So who knows? I basically think that they took the same exact ergonomics and just made it bigger too. So I don't know how that works, because I feel like the current Rosie is kind of like a master class of ergos because of the under pivot spot there. So it fits your hand really nice. This guy here, the Triaxis Midnight, very similar. You know, a lot of blues and whatnot, but overall length as well, similar. So this was pegged to be the Rosie killer. I don't see it, but also very cool. I love the puzzle piece kind of anodizing, and the pattern work on this as well is also just gorgeous. Really cool knife as well. So there you go. And then I'll do the small Sebenza. I think the large is going to make this guy look a little tiny. But there's your small Sebenza. So it's definitely a medium-sized knife, right? But there you go. There you go. Okay, so we've got a good show, I'd say, of overall knife sizes to kind of choose from there. And, well, what else? What else can we say about this? Silky smooth. It's funny how when you pull this up here, I see this and I go, oh, am I missing that it can be a front flipper? Is that why they have all this jimping? And then you fold it down and go, oh, no. But that wouldn't be much of a stretch to add a little length there, hey? You round this edge out, add a little bit, and all of a sudden this becomes a whole different fidget factor. Flipper, thumb stud, anyway. Who's this knife for? Well, considering there's 50 and change in the world, it's probably for someone who likes to have things that are a little rare, especially in North America. It's probably for the true knife enthusiast that just, may have a number of options, but just doesn't have them all, essentially. They want to try new makers, they want to try new manufacturing. This would be certainly one that you'd be adding to the list to try out, or even the early adopters. The Hemlock, it's just such a nicely made knife. I just did not expect it to be so light. The milling, it's different on the front, it's different on the back. Like, you just look at the overall, quote, starburst pattern, right? It kind of spreads out. It's more coarse on the external side. It's more fine on the middle. You've got almost like dimpling down on the bottom of the handle, 3D milled, smooth, dimpling, sunburst, and then kind of different, like boxed up top. So 4 different milling patterns on one side of a knife. I don't know how much that's going to show and just the light's going to really hit it harshly, but there is 4 different patterns on the front handle here. That's so cool. And then you flip it over on the back. It's the same kind of thing. Actually, it might even be 5. 1, 2, 3. I guess it's still 4, but I'd say it's much harder and coarser milling under that clip. 5 with the clip, I'd say, but just lots going on milling. I think this would pop nicely in a stone washed titanium, or like a bead, a glass blasted. I'd love to see what that kind of looks like. A nice, just to see and appreciate all that milling. The ano hides it, I find, with so much light hitting it. Just my opinion, or at least it hides it in, on video because of all the light. Just cannot. The camera just freaks right out. Love the thumb studs. This particular configuration, I think I had 3 hemlocks come through, maybe 2, I can't remember. This configuration is very, very cool. Gold blue always works well together. The acid washed blade is just something you don't see all the time as well. It looks really good, and we almost, I can't tell if I've got a mirrored edge on here or not. It might even be a mirrored edge. It pops very nicely, very consistently done as well. Beautiful. Very hollow. Just a very usable, very sharp dressed carry. Definitely appreciate it. In hand, I'm an extra large glove, and like I said, it fits me no problem. The extended jimping is very helpful for me. And then on the back here, I still have half a finger of room. No problem. Wouldn't want to use it as a work knife, but I don't think that's who it's intended for. On the flipper tab, I would like to see a little more, the Shiro bevels behind the flipper tab. I've always just come to really like that. Here, it's rounded, it's smooth, it's not sharp, it's not a real issue. I'm just critiquing it for the sake of critiquing it more than anything. But fantastic. I really don't have any issues or complaints on this one. The stone wash, or whatever you want to call it, under the ano doesn't make the ano look quite as sharp. It's kind of got some little fades here and there as well. Keep that in mind. But I guess it fits nicely with the acid wash, because that's kind of what they're going for in that matching kind of look. So keep that in mind. But overall, beautifully done, beautifully milled, and nicely designed knife with lots going on, like tons going on in this knife that just quietly does it without really advertising it too hard. So pretty cool. I didn't even realize there's jimping on the flipper tab. It felt really smooth, really comfortable. And it is further back of center. Keep that in mind, leverage-wise. Anything that's behind center tends to, people assume, myself included, that the detents are lighter than they are. But it's just like going to a bigger bicycle cog for climbing a hill, right? The further you go back, the bigger the cog, the slower the turn. Just keep that in mind. Anyway, wanted to do 10-15 minutes, probably approaching on 20. Sorry for going along today. Just wanted to show a cool knife, as we do on Thursdays, and kind of go from there. So anyway, guys, appreciate you stopping by. Thanks for checking this one out. Real cool knife from Robjohnsons. Looks great. And I guess I will see you on the next one next week. Check out IG, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Threads. You're on YouTube now, so throw a thumbs up. It helps the video, helps the channel, helps this content find other people, knife nuts and enthusiasts like you. And then otherwise, I will catch you on the next one every Monday and Thursday, 7 a.m. Eastern. All right, guys. Have a good week. Peace.